Hello and welcome to the Jerich Show. It's a very London-based episode today with all our stories. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I hit the countdown button and then I heard this really weird buzzing sound. And I kid you not, there's a bee about that big floating around, or a wasp. It's ugly. Oh, reminds me of my co-host.
Welcome to the Jerich Show, featuring your hosts, Javvad Malik and Erich Krohn. Timely topics, poorly presented.
Speaking
You know,
of
I can hear I can hear you from the green room, right? You do know that.
I didn't know you could hear me from the green room.
I see how you are.
I hope no one else could. I was like doing the whole Homer Simpson thing going on.
Oh man, I was laughing though because I saw you running around like crazy, watching the countdown timer coming down, and then whatever you did, man, I don't know what you did, but your video looks horrible. It looks like your video is being shot through a potato or something. I don't know. It's just sit really still so we lose some of the artifacts. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Maybe it's my whole plan to like mask my identity. It's to throw off.
Is that what it is?
Recognition cameras. Yeah.
None of the swirlies on the cheeks and crap like that to keep the facial recognition down.
Yeah.
You're just going for.
Yeah. You know they say like on your face mask you should have the what's that royalty that Getty Images. That's right. If you write Getty Images on your face mask when you put it on, whenever someone takes a photo of it and they post it online, it'll get taken down. So,
that's beautiful. That's brilliant. I like that idea. I like that. So, all right. Well, hey, what do we got going on this week? I mean, can you believe though, Javvad, this is our 82nd episode. Did you know that?
Wow. It's almost like we're married now. It's a long-term commitment.
Well, we're finally starting to get serious about this thing though. And that's kind of cool to see.
I know you, Eric, Anyway, ISACA, 2/3, you sucker. 2/3 of cybersecurity teams are understaffed. Now, I haven't read this story, so maybe you can enlighten me. But the one thing I always find with these kinds of surveys is you could go to anyone in security, in a management position, anyone, and you can ask two questions. Say, do you have enough staff and are you getting paid enough? And I think in the majority of cases, people are going to say no. 2/3 are going to say no. So you could do this. So I'm not bashing this. I haven't, like I said, I've not read the methodology, but that's the initial feeling I always get whenever I read these kinds of headlines.
Yeah, and ISC Squared has its report every year that they come out and say, oh, we need more cybersecurity experts and whatnot. But, in the real world, we kind of see this where people are understaffed. When you talk to people that are actually in there, they're like, man, another crazy day. Now, what I really thought was interesting about this actually was in the paragraph there, right by where your mouse is, soft skills was cited as the top missing skill type in cybersecurity team, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like usually we totally associate it with like technical skills. Now they're saying that, it's communication, critical thinking, and problem solving. But one of the things that we see go on over and over again, and we've talked about this before, is as technical people, sometimes we miss the communication to the board. We can't get those resources because we're not communicating the problems as well as we could. We're not putting it into a risk mentality that they would understand. And I mean, I did it. I was on a panel in RSA, I don't even know, 7, 8 years ago now. God, the time goes by fast, right? And it was exactly this. It was, we need to work on the soft skills in order to better communicate with leadership. Because they're not going to learn our language. We need to learn theirs a little bit more. And this is still true, I think.
I think so. And to add to that, I think it's not just leadership. It's just communication to anybody. You're not just trying to convince up the chain. You're trying to convince across to your peers and even, down in the organization. It's a broad communication issue. And this is a bit like, how people who only speak English, they go to a foreign country and all they do is speak English. And when the person doesn't understand, they'll just say it slower and louder, hoping that the other person will understand. And this is that's how I feel security people sometimes communicate. If you just tell people off enough times, if you just like beat them about the head and say, you will be doing this or doing that, if you just say enough times, maybe they will change their behavior.
I may feel a little seen with that. I mean, I know a little bit of Spanish, like uno más cerveza, por favor, and baños. I can get by in Spain. And I know a couple of bad words in German, and I know when my family was talking about me. But yeah, I'm mostly an English speaker, and I might do that also. But you got to put the hand gestures in too, right? That makes the difference.
Yeah. You know, I imagine you to be one of those typical American tourists. You wear the baseball cap, the bum bag, the three-length shorts, and an oversized T-shirt, and like from a mile away, oh my gosh, you are one of those. It's as if I don't even know you.
America. Easy to spot in an airport. What can I say?
Anonymous has claimed it's hacked into the central bank of Russia. That's a bold claim from a group that, you know, is pretty irrelevant. This is like one of those groups they were hot like 10 years ago, and now that every now and then someone tries to come into relevance. But putting that aside, that's a bit of a bold claim, a bold move. What do you make of it?
Yeah, before we go to that, a friend of the show, James McQuiggan, and is that what he wears to the airport? Huh. But yeah, the second language I speak is definitely sarcasm. Thank you, James, for that. No, Anonymous is one of these things that its reputation has in many ways outdone what it is. You know, it's a hacktivist group. And I'm not saying there haven't been some, reasonable players in there or whatever, but it's like, it's what every hacker group ever on TV is kind of surrounded by, right? Or is modeled after, if you will. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this story and what made me think about this a little bit more is actually the fact that regardless of who they are or whatever, but we're looking at a modern warfare type thing playing out with the Ukraine and Russia, right? And so we've always had, when these kinds of things happen, we've had issues where, it's nation state against nation state. But here in the cyber realm, we have non-nation state players jumping in and starting attacks from the side based on this hacktivist type mentality. We're seeing that kind of stuff happen, which is kind of, in my mind, interesting. It's like having the Montana militia show up and start getting involved, in the kinetic type stuff.
Yeah. I think it's a dangerous precedence. I think it's a slippery slope for any nation, regardless of which side you're on, when your average citizen or citizens who aren't even involved in that, but they just hold a strong opinion from anywhere in the world, start to get involved. And it feels safe because you're behind a keyboard, but it doesn't mean there can't be repercussions. And how would you feel if a 16-year-old thought they were being clever, hacked into a system which was then considered an act of war, and there was some actual retaliation, even if it's just sanctions? I'm not even saying a kinetic war. Even if then a particular country whose VPN you bounced off or whatever then got sanctions and some real people got impacted. So I think it's like, leave the professionals to do the professional stuff, and but by all means, like,
and these other groups can just like hack. Is that what you're saying? Like go after people's money and stuff instead? I mean, I kind of like the fact they're pointed one direction, and let's keep that going on, right? As opposed to the rest. And here we have Raphael. Yeah, a teenager with a computer and internet.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing it again, man.
That music is just that automatically cuts in whenever you start rambling, Eric. It's just to move on. It means that the next story is due.
Yeah. And I was hoping this was you.
Over 40,000 London voters have data leaked to strangers. I think that's a very important thing.
Leak to the people you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess we have to put that in there, I guess, just to
Yeah.
make it kind of
Yeah.
real. But yeah, this is just another, it was some emails sent to like the wrong people, I believe. Now the interesting part here is, they're falling back and they're going, well, it's publicly available anyways. I, okay, but people have to go look for it as
Yeah.
opposed to having
Yeah.
it arrive in their inbox. Like, hey, this is kind of cool, neat, packaged, gift wrapped, kind of like the urinal you sent me last week.
That was thoughtful. Have you used it yet?
No, but I'm
See,
doing a road trip today. We're actually going to Daytona Beach for some kids sports stuff, which they happen to do high school kids sports stuff in Daytona Beach on spring break. This
wow.
is going to be an interesting weekend, but we have a long road trip ahead of ourselves. Maybe I'll try it out.
But yeah, this was Wandsworth Council, far away from me, so don't bother looking for my details. If you want my details, just ask me or go to my website. Yeah, I'm highly doxable. It's not a challenge.
Javvad Malik in the garage in the back.
Yeah, let me drop my pin on Google Maps.
Right,
So,
there we go. Yeah.
So Microsoft confirms they were hacked by Lapsus dollar extortion group. There's a lot of this Lapsus dollar. I'm calling them Lapsus dollar because it sounds funny to say it like that. But they confirm. So Lapsus has been making lots of claims lately that they hacked a whole number of companies. I think Okta was one of them as well, but Microsoft was also there. And now they've confirmed that they've stolen portions of their source code.
Yes, that is true. And so, yeah, things like Bing, such a valuable and well-used search engine. Can you imagine the
Wow.
the value of that code? That I know there are probably. Do we have any listeners out there that have actually used Bing on a regular basis? We'd love to know. Drop it in the comments because, frankly, I don't think I know anybody that uses Bing. How about you, Javvad?
No. I I don't use Bing. I'm not a Microsoft household here at all.
You don't go to Bing on your Mac and just make sure it's all.
No. And what I want to know is that did they find the source code for Clippy, and if so, can they improve it? I think that would be because it's clearly Microsoft aren't going to improve it.
I miss Clippy. I miss Clippy. I do. And do you remember Microsoft Bob?
Bob.
Years ago, that was like Bill Gates' wife's pet project. So you open the door and there was like a desktop and stuff that you would click on the desktop to go write a letter. Do you remember any of that, Bob?
I am a lot younger than you, Eric. I maybe if I go to a library, I'll be able to find some reference material in the dusty section.
Okay, yeah. So anyways, Lapsus again. Now this is a group that's been, you're right, it's making the headlines a lot. What I'm kind of seeing though is here they claim it was a single individual that had been compromised, that they got information from. Same with Okta. They're saying back in January, it was a single contractor. And what they posted was screenshots from that single contractor's, account.
So they moved up from blaming the intern to a contractor.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Are they really getting in and doing a lot? But honestly, they're getting a lot of airtime for something that may or may not be one or two people, as opposed to an entire organization. That's kind of my long rambling point there. What do you think? Have you seen where they've actually gotten a whole lot out of an organization?
I haven't, no, but there's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to any of these kinds of things. You got to see there's two objectives really when you look at some of these cybercrime gangs. One is obviously to impact an organization, but the other thing is sometimes it's a marketing campaign to build notoriety for themselves.
Yeah.
So now, so maybe they only got into one person at Microsoft, and maybe they only got half a gig of data, and just off that laptop. But now the notoriety is there. So now, if an organization gets hit and says we are the Lapsus group, you're going to be like, oh my god, they're the guys that got into Microsoft and GitHub and all these sorts of highly secure places. I've got no option but to fold and give them all my, meet their demands. So I think it's a bit of both. It's kind of like the Red Bull of ransomware, all marketing and no real product.
Well, it's kind of funny that we sit here and say that, though. But I mean, somebody did compromise part of Microsoft. Somebody did compromise part of Okta, and we've gotten jaded to the point that we're like, just be a half a terabyte of data, or you know what I mean? Like we've almost got jaded. You remember when Target got hit? We're like, oh my gosh, and it's amazing. I'm just sitting here thinking about how desensitized we've become to some of these sorts of things that are going on out there.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between an organization as a whole being compromised and an individual in an organization being breached.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important distinction to make as well. Although sometimes there is a Venn diagram where there is some overlap, but if someone breaks into our company, that's a big deal. If someone just hacks Erich, then what they're going to find some ramblings, some cookie recipes, some what have you. Anyway, speaking of Lapsus, they have arrested one of the alleged leaders.
Really?
Yes, early this morning, police done I'd like to say it's a no-knock raid, but I don't know. But they went, kicked down the door, arrested an individual. Can you guess where in the world they might be?
Oh, it's got to be out of like South Africa or something, right?
Close. Oxford, London, UK, England, Oxford, England.
Did they find them through voting records? Is that how that happened? like leaked voting records?
16-year-old. And who has got about $14 million in cryptocurrency in their wallets from all their ill-gotten gains. So don't tell me crime doesn't pay.
Dude, at 16, I was looking for like 35 cents to put gas in the car to get me through like my trip to work and back. I mean, and wow.
And so apparently what's interesting is the boy, he can't be named for legal reasons, but he was doxxed by his business partners, so to speak. So that's why choose your friends carefully. Don't tell them secrets you don't want leaked. It's why I keep you close, Erich, because I know anything I tell you, you forget within like 20 minutes anyway. So my secrets are completely safe. But the boy is apparently autistic. He goes to a special needs school, and his father said that he's never really heard him talk about hacking or anything. He just thought he was playing games. So
he was playing games, all right.
Yeah. There's an interesting quote in this story somewhere. The father. We're going to try to stop him from going on computers.
Wow. That could be in it. So let me ask you real quick, though. Does this qualify as esports? If he's gaming. Yeah, well, I suppose. No, this is interesting. And the fact that his colleagues doxed him is interesting. And it makes me think of, it makes me think of, hi, Amanda, long time no see. But it does make me think, I'm going to get this out. I really will. Conti, what just happened with Conti with the Russia-Ukraine thing, where the split caused some rifts there and they ended up dumping a bunch of their source code because somebody was mad. I mean, the more turmoil we can create within these groups, the less they can go do not cool things, I suppose. Oh, stop it.
Sorry. Your rant was just, you lost me there. I started to daydream and sorry, please continue, Erich.
Oh, no.
Okay, no, he doesn't want to continue. So we won't have him continue. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And Amanda, what are you saying? No way he had 14 million. I don't know. That was in crypto. Maybe it's worth 13 today. Maybe it's up to 15, depending on which way the coins went. And his parents didn't notice. No, they didn't. I think that's actually one of the big issues today. Kids, there's a generation gap where a lot of parents don't understand what the kids are doing, what they're accessing, or how to monitor any of that activity. So I think it's something that, probably we can discuss it on another show. But we're at the end of our time. And so hopefully we'll see you again. Same bat channel, same bat time. Stay secure, my friends.